The runway, then a left turn and a left downwind. Cessna over the threshold, coming up on the white dot, at or beyond the white dot, left turn first available. I got a high wind coming up on about a half-mile final, clear to land at or beyond. Traffic on the left face, you're following a Cessna down, low off your left. Square it up just a little bit, and then we're going to get you in. Start your descent, though. Start your descent on the base. Traffic on final, give me follow on base. Base traffic, start turning toward the numbers now. High wing coming up on quarter-mile final, take it all the way down to the green. Cessna taxiing on the green, expedite down to the next hard surface. Get me some speed, there you go, 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 go fast. This is going to be good. I got traffic on a mile final, you're following traffic ahead and to your right. High wing coming up on the threshold, take it all the way down to the green dot.
5 Charlie Sierra, 2 mile final.
A mile final, turn north, and we're going to just make you, we're going to bring you back around. Jet traffic's coming up on about a mile and a half final, runway 9er clear to land.
Okay, all right, let's listen up, guys. If you're on final for runway 9, I want you offset to the left. I got a jet that's landing on runway 9. The jet's cleared to land runway 9 if you can make it. If not, just continue straight ahead. It looks like you're going around for the jet. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
Oh, we had one right in front of us, sir.
Dragger. Let's see, what we got, a tricycle, put it down, tricycle, put it down, tricycle, put it down. Tail dragger, down to the green dot, then a left turn. Short final here, you cleared land on 9, all the way to the white dot, go down to the white dot. Find somebody to follow out here. Canard, just come to the runway and I might have to just send you around. That'll be fine. And for the jet, you just want to stay in this pattern or you want to go back out for an instrument approach?
Stay in a pattern, Charlie Sierra.
All right, just stay with me here for a minute. And my tail dragger, let's see, over the numbers, go down to the green. And Canard's going to have to go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. Canard, go around. And my high wing here over the runway, keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. You do not descend. Do not descend. You got a fast guy behind you. Do not descend. There you go. Keep it airborne. Keep it airborne. As soon as the guy behind you gets slowed down, I'm going to put you down. So keep it airborne. The one that just passed the white dot, make a left turn on the hard surface. All right, my high wing tail dragger, you can put it down now. You can put it down now. And Charlie Sierra, let me get you about a mile off. Let's see, Charlie Sierra, I lost. There you are. Make a left-hand turn. I'll try to resequence you here on the downwinds. We'll see how it looks. Short final, you cleared land.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be chit-chatting with you.
I'm going to check out first a little bit of footage.
Aim for the green dot, and I'm sure that's plenty of room for you to land on runway 9. You're clear to land on runway 9. Number 2, you're going to go down to the white dot. Follow the white dot. Actually, you know what? That's 1,500 feet. You're going to land at the white dot. The spacing looks adequate here. 2 guys on final. You're kind of tight there. Keep each other in sight, and you're going to aim for the white dot. If it's not going to work, we'll come up with a plan B. We might have to send you around. The second guy behind you out there in about a 2-mile final. Are you slow enough to be able to follow that guy in front of you? You need to go around. Well, I probably shouldn't ask that because I had about 5 guys answer me, so I should know better than that after 35 years, you would think, right? All right, so let me see. The guy who's number 1, it's number 1. What kind of airplane is he? An RV type. All right, RV type. Keep it airborne for me. Keep it airborne. And I got a fast guy behind you. The number 2 guy over the trees there, go ahead and put it down on the numbers. Put it down on the numbers. My first guy just coming up on the numbers at the over the grass at the numbers. I want you to keep it.
T-minus 1 minute and counting.
Hello.
Four, three, two, one.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you doing? Welcome to tonight's live stream, the very last live stream before Flyer Live next week. That is. First thing, before we do anything else, we need to say a big thank you to 4Flight. 4Flight are the sponsors of this show and will be for a little while yet. So thank you very much, 4Flight, for making this possible. We've been doing this show for, well, must be not quite a year, but maybe 10 months at the moment. And it's grown massively, as has the work we have to put into it. Although sometimes we forgive you for not noticing that occasionally when I get things wrong. But thank you to 4Flight for that. What have we got for you tonight? Well, we've got a whole load of news about Flyer Live, which I'll tell you in a minute. Simon Keeling can't join us tonight. He's off doing something. He'll probably explain in his video, but he has sent in a video with his forecast, so I'll be playing that shortly. We've got a whole ton of new stuff. We've got some going forum with special guest Dave White, and we'll be talking to him, asking him all sorts of questions, trying to catch him out, giving him the right stuff quiz and all that stuff. Fantasy Hangar, or this week's Fantasy Flying Club, actually, slightly different. And then a bunch of other bits and pieces that I've probably forgotten, including QSY and stuff like that. So that's enough drivel for me for now. Let's see what Simon has to say about the weather. Let's see how much flying we're going to be doing this weekend.
Hi everyone, sorry I can't join you this evening. I'm playing around with aircraft, all in anticipation of flying next week, of course. But I think the weather probably knows that I wanted to fly next week. So what's about to occur is entirely my fault, and my apologies for that. Okay, this is the forecast then for Saturday. All looking okay actually for most of us on Saturday. Just the far southeast of England here, seeing a front, and that may bring rain with it and probably make for non-VFR conditions across the far southeast. Trough coming south through Scotland, bringing a few heavy showers with it. Bases here probably around 3,000 feet, tops at about 12,000 feet. But you see elsewhere, generally, it looks like flying conditions are actually pretty good. Now, I've added a new chart onto the forecast for this week. In the top right-hand corner there, this is from our WeatherWeb premium service, and we've got an offer on for pilots at the moment. If you go to weatherweb.net and just click on aviation, this chart here is cloud ceilings. So where it's green or white means that we've got cloud ceilings of above 2,000 feet. That's broken cloud or more. Where it's orange is 1,000 to 2,000 feet. Where it's red is below 500 feet. So you can see there that it's the far southeast corner where we've got the lowest of the ceiling heights on Saturday. So this is Sunday, and again we've got a weak front that's just off towards the south on Sunday. Some outbreaks of rain here, maybe across the far southeast. We're in non-VFR conditions, bases about 1,000 to 2,000 feet here, but generally for most other areas you see that we are generally VFRable. Bases typically 3,000 to 4,000 feet, tops about 10,000 feet. Weak front across Eastern Ireland brings a little bit of cloud, maybe an odd shower, but nothing too untoward. And on the ceiling chart there, you can see basically it's all whites and greens, which means that it's good to fly, apart from that far southeast corner and perhaps western parts of Scotland later on. On to Monday then, the day that we can finally all go flying. And is the weather going to play ball? No. I don't think it got the message. For some of us, it's going to be okay, but it's quite murky, I think, to start the day. But eventually, central and eastern Wales, the Midlands, probably most of East Anglia, probably most of southern England, getting to VFRable conditions in the afternoon. Bases about 2,000 to 4,000 feet overall. But you see that warm front here, look, lying through Ireland, lying through northwest England, through northern parts of England. And yeah, I think in these areas, non-VFRable, just because of that low cloud base. It's looking like about 1,000 feet, tops about 10,000 feet, but improved for northern and eastern parts of Scotland. So I'm afraid if you're northern England, if you're Ireland, you may have to wait a little bit longer to fly. And that's sort of reiterated here, look, by the ceiling forecast. You can see there the yellows, the oranges and the reds all showing up across Northern Ireland and across northern England and that far southern part of Scotland. So it may be that you've got to wait until the middle of next week, really, before things improve. OK, if you want to learn more about the weather, then get yourself along to Aviation Weather School. I'll show you how to plan effectively 5 days in advance for your flying, so you ain't wasting time going down to the airfield. You're saving money on fuel and you're accumulating brownie points as well. And basically build your confidence in your own ability to make forecasts yourself. My next course is on the Saturday mornings of the 15th and 22nd of May. And you can book your place now and get more information at weatherschool.com. flyingnet.co.uk. I do it on the Saturday morning so you can go flying in the afternoon. It's a great course. You'll have a great time. Look at the reviews on the website for more information. Okay, I've taken up enough of your time. If you're flying this weekend, have a great one. Have a safe one. And if you're flying next week, let's just keep your fingers crossed that the weather forecast is better than the one I've just shown you there. Okay, guys, I'll leave you with that for now. Whatever you're doing, have a great weekend. Safe flying. Keep the sun shining. And bye for now.
He's so cheerful.
He is.
Great. Thank you very much, Simon. That was a bundle of positivity and joy, considering some of that claggy weather at times. And looking at the chart, it's probably a good job we can't fly to the 2K because I don't think many people will be going this weekend. Certainly
That's
not
it. I just before we move on, I just need to address something which quite a lot of our observant readers, our viewers, are noticing. Dick Dastardly said, "Is Ed the only one not in prison?" or most observantly, and you have to have been to Goodwood to remember this, Stuart Rue says, they're all in the loos at Goodwood. Which, yes, so it's just a few, Johnny, Ian and Dave have their Flyer Live backgrounds up because we've all been doing interviews ready for that next week. I got bored of mine and took mine down.
That's not the truth. The truth is we are all in prison, but Ed's one of those like prison bosses that rules the wing. Basically, he'll help.
Yeah,
he helps
I have the premium cell.
Yeah. All of the other prisoners give him cigarettes and mobile phones if he helps them rivet their RV8s together or something. Before we go on, a couple of housekeeping points that you'll probably know anyway. We asked last week what we were going to do about Facebook and stuff like that, and what we're going to do about the times. Well, we're not the only people having issues with streaming on Facebook, so we kind of knocked it on the head, and we'll see whether we ever resurrect it or not. But there were too many problems. Plus, having all the questions in one place on YouTube makes for a better experience for everyone, because there's not a whole bunch of questions that you can't see that we can see. So that's a little bit strange. But from now on, at least for a while, will be YouTube only, questions on YouTube. So Facebook, you'll be able to watch a review on Facebook. You'll be able to watch this again on Facebook. We can upload it there tomorrow probably, or next week. But otherwise, we're going to stay here, and we're going to stay at 7:30 unless we change our minds, in which case we'll do it all over again. Just a quick update before we head on to news, because otherwise you're going to get really bored of me. Flyer Live starts on Monday. It's fantastic. There's a whole load of great speakers. There's a whole load of prizes, including a pair of Bose A20s, a Garmin Airwatch, 250 quid to go and spend in Poulis. Plus, breaking news, only got this confirmed today, this afternoon, in fact. We've got a special guest on Thursday. It's Sophie O'Sullivan, the head of the GA unit. The CA are going to come on and do us an interview, which is fantastic. It's going to have to be pre-recorded, so we'll do that during the day on Thursday. But I'll be talking to Sophie O'Sullivan Thursday morning to hear what she's got to say to all of us for Thursday evening. So that's pretty good news. Hopefully that's a crack in the dam, and we'll have some GAU people and some CA people more regularly. Maybe even DFT people. You never know. Anyway, enough of that. What have I forgotten? Probably loads.
You might get actual regulators rather than having to rely on your tiny regulators.
Tiny regulators? I mean, those people.
Aren't they cute?
Yes.
They are. They're lovely. They're lovely.
Instead of your tiny regulators, you could have your tiny flyer people instead.
Ooh.
We could do. That's a good. When we can all get together, which won't be too far now. We need to do another photo shoot for stuff like this.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit worn out. Right. Let's move on to something a bit more serious than me wibbling on. Let's talk about the news. I think Dave, you're leading us off in the news, aren't you?
Okay, so the first story we've kind of headlined, he's not heavy, he's my Microlight. Now, clearly this refers to the 600 kilogram Microlight weight limit that's being adopted all over Europe, and it could be in place and functioning in the UK as early as next month. That's according to Jeff Weil, who's the CEO of the British Microlight Aircraft Association. Jeff said, this was in a video webinar with Microlight instructors, he said, the current target is regulatory requirements to be in position to enable 600 kilogram microlights from early May 2021. He also said airworthiness requirements are in hand and will be aligned with German and Czech regulations as closely as possible. Now, Germany and Czech Republic are two big players when it comes to these microlights. They've got a fabulous set of aircraft. So that's all quite good, although that as closely as possible phrase is slightly worrying. But I did hear today that and Jeff confirmed this today, that there's been a slight delay in having the change of law that needs to happen to the ANO, Air Navigation Order. There's been a slight delay in the lawyers agreeing that. So it might be early May, it might drift a little bit. Anyway, but Jeff was very positive in this video, and he went on to say that licensing requirements have been agreed, and the main thing is they're focusing on differences training. Now, differences training on a microlight, you'll be surprised with so many different types of microlight out there now. This could be tricycle undercarriage, it could be tail wheel. So if you're used to tricycle and you go to a tail wheel, you'll need some differences training, and vice versa. The other things are supercharger or turbocharger, a variable pitch propeller, electronic flight information system, autopilot, more than one engine, or an electric engine. More than one engine in a microlight. Where's that then?
Wow.
Anyway,
good to see them openly embracing electric motors.
Yep.
Yes, yeah. And there's an awful lot of new things there which you might not have believed were on microlights a few years ago, but they are now. So
I have to say, I think
it sounds quite positive, really.
I'm just going to say a little quick word. I can't resist. If they can align them pretty damn closely to the German and Czech requirements, that will be a fantastic thing. I think the 600 kilogram microlight has the potential to really re-energize general aviation at that kind of level. It will be fantastic. If it turns out that there's people going, yes, I know that you've got a round wheel, but ours is octagonal, and it really is quite close because it does go round and round and round, but it's a much better octagonal wheel, then I think we're going to be screwed. But hopefully, fingers crossed, they've got it nailed, and it'll be great. And on a similar note, there's a new version of CS STAM, which is an EASA regulation that's out for consultation at the moment. It stands for Certification Specifications for Standard Changes and Repairs. But that includes a whole load of good stuff as well. And I think even that looks like it's going towards, in certain areas of certified aircraft, accepting ASTM standards, as well as not needing EASA Form 1s for non-critical parts in aircraft. So that looks like it's moving in the right direction as well. And even I hope that the CA will adopt it. So that'll be good as well. So lots of good things going on there. Anyway, Who else has got anything else to say about 600 kilogram microlights? I want one.
I think you've said it all.
Sounds good.
Well, I think the reason there's a question in the comments about why 600 kilograms, and I think it's because the light sport aircraft category, which came out of the States, has a 600 kilogram weight limit, and lots of manufacturers have produced aircraft for that weight limit. So it's it doesn't mean reinventing the wheel kind of thing, or the aeroplane.
Yeah, even though we can reinvent a better wheel than anybody else.
Hopefully we won't.
That's
What's
to have a
next?
Jack on the side.
Yeah.
Okay.
What's next then? Oh,
It's
I know
you.
What's next?
It's you.
So, do you remember this? Best place in the world for general aviation. Yep, I remember that. So there was consultation a little while ago, and that included stuff about licensing and charges. Here's an interesting part from it. They kind of challenging a proposed fee of 77. So basically, now that we've finished a transition period, we're no longer part of EASA. Those licenses we got that are EASA part FCO licenses, apparently we need to change it back to CA licenses. And as you can see here, back in 2012, the CA said, those JAR licenses and those CA licenses you got, pay us 77 quid and transform it into an EASA license. It'll be great. It'll never run out. It will never need renewing, not that 5-year larky or anything. And now, in 2021, hey, do you mind giving us another 77 quid just to turn it back into what you had before? And what kind of answer is that from a consultation? That's ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, come on. Then don't get, well, we charged 77 quid because that's what we charged before. Well, that doesn't make it right, does it? Come on, sort it out. So that's just ridiculous. And hopefully, I shall ask, in fact, I'll ask Sophie on Thursday to see what she has to say about that. We'll see. She might not say anything about it.
I'm guessing she's not going to shout and go, free license conversions for everyone.
No, but given that FAA charge something like $2 if you change your address, and I don't know whatever it is, 10 or 20 quid if you lose your driving license and you need to get another one of those or something like that. 77 quid seems an awful lot of money. Plus, during the virtual voyage CEA roadshow that they did a couple of weeks ago, one of the things they were very clear about was that when they consulted, everyone said flight crew licensing is just a complete mess, which we all know it is. And part of their plan is to completely revolutionize that, simplify that, go for digital licenses, maybe even have licenses on your phone and stuff like that, and to make it best in the world, to go and look at other places and take best practice from there. So, but, you know, if you pay 77 quid to change to a CA license now, what's the betting that it won't be another 77 quid when you need to download your app and check? It's just...
Let's move on.
Okay, let's move on. Sorry. All right. Ed.
It's me. Good news. So there's a £50,000 prize if you're feeling really energetic and you fancy entering the Great Human-Powered Aircraft Race. Now, this is a competition that's due to take place in June 2022. And so there's the top prize of 50 grand. And basically, it's a race of human-powered aircraft from Folkestone to France. All the aircraft will take off on the same day to ensure that no team has an unfair advantage due to weather, though the takeoffs will be staggered. And basically, it's a competition that marks the 60th anniversary of the first flight of human-powered aircraft made by Derek Piggott in the Southampton University student aircraft Sunpack. Obviously, the first and only crossing of the Channel in a human-powered aircraft was 42 years ago now, unbelievably. That was Brian Allen in the Gossamer Albatross, designed by Paul McCready.
How many other people have crossed the Channel in a human-powered aircraft?
No one has.
No one has. Just the one.
Yeah. The first and only.
There should be a flyer team, I think. We know a cyclist between the four of us.
However, there is a problem there. The organisers have said, due to the risk and difficulty, teams will have to demonstrate past experience in human-powered aircraft building to qualify. So, Johnny, unless you joining the team brought secret HPA capability to us, you know, probably not.
No, that wasn't on my CV.
Yeah, I have witnessed an HPA fly, and it is the most magical and amazing thing. So, but a huge amount of effort.
Yeah, it's only April, isn't it? And when's this? June 2022.
June 2022. So you've got a chunk of time to get ready.
It's a chunk of time. We could actually build one, fly one, and then claim that as experience before we then build another one for the Channel.
Yeah. Okay,
how long does it take to build an aircraft, Ed?
Let's get an entirely new team to take care of all the magazine stuff while we concentrate on that.
You know those things they have where they'll sit around a table with a beer thing in the middle and they all pedal and it cycles?
Oh, yeah.
I've not seen that.
We could just put some wings on one of those.
Okay. Yeah. But anyway, so if you've got HPA skills and you fancy winning 50 grand, that's your competition. The news stories on the website and there's links to enter.
Excellent. I reckon Dr. Bill Brooks ought to be planning that as we speak, if I was him. But, right, time for a chart.
Yes.
You, Johnny.
So this is all about an infringement. In a nutshell, this student pilot planned pretty much a textbook QXC on paper with a plog and a chart. Everything was accurate and looked good. Now, windy conditions apparently led to a workload that was higher than anticipated, which resulted in the student becoming unsure of where they were. The student then satisfied themselves that they were where they were and took the next turn, but they took it too early. And this eventually led to an infringement. And the student did all the correct things from then on, contacted D&D. D&D helped them get on the ground at Wellesbourne, and it was all safely taken from there. But the key takeaway is that the student not only didn't have any form of moving map on them, but hadn't been taught any GPS or moving map use in their training. We all know that we do a skills test in order, we build up to a skills test to test our dead reckoning techniques, and you want to prepare for that fully. But to not get accustomed to using that kind of technology, even if it's running in the background or as an emergency backup, to me is a bit last century. So,
well, this is the whole craziness of the curriculum as we teach it currently, isn't it? This is, if ever there was one thing that says actually everything needs a damn good shuffle and sort, this is it.
I'm going to come to the defence of the Civil Aviation Authority here.
What?
I know.
Good Lord.
No, seriously, I think the CAA have been doing. The CAA used to do their best to go, oh, GPS work of the devil, blah 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 blah. But they don't do that anymore. They're very pro GPS. The problem is we've got a whole bunch of dinosaurs teaching and examining who don't like GPS. And by all means, teach dead reckoning, teach traditional nav, but just teach it and then teach people how to do it the way that they're going to do it for the rest of their flying career. Don't hide it. That's my tip. And I'm laying that blame not at the foot of the CAA, because I think the CAA have changed. There you go. CAA, well done on that one.
Yes.
But things should change. I mean, the modern tech will go a long way to helping people. So let's embrace it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Dave.
Okay, well, this is the most important news of the night, of course. And this is the fact that the Luscombe 8 is going to go back into production. Again. There's a new company called the Luscombe Aircraft Corporation being created somewhere in New York State, a place called Jamestown, very famous place, Jamestown Airport. And they've got the assets of the old Luscombe company. And at the moment they're making parts, but they're planning on making a full aircraft. The first ones will be to LSA, light sport aircraft standards. So this 600 kilogram limit, which is, I think, will be a bit of a struggle in a Luscombe. It won't be much over, but it's a bit of a struggle to get that. Anyway, so they're going to start by making parts, and then they're going to make this LSA version, and then they want to make certified aircraft further down the line, which and their reasoning for that is that the Luscombe is an idle aircraft as a trainer. Well,
do you think the Luscombe is the Edgeley Optica of America?
Well, no, because I'm with Dave, and I think it's mean to make the Optica comparison. And it keeps coming back. I know that, but it's got a good established history first time around, doesn't it?
Yes. And if you look at it, it's a nice little, classic aeroplane, classic style. It looks great, and it flies very well. There's no real vices, apart from being a money pit.
Is there another aspect of the airplane you haven't mentioned?
We won't go there.
It doesn't come with a free Donald Trump. That's going back to our last news story, an interesting one from Jules Mountain. He said they had the same issue in the sailing industry and incorporated moving maps into the day skipper course 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Is he trying to say that the aviation industry is behind?
I don't know. That could possibly be the comment.
Who knows? Yeah. Who knows?
Paul Grazer Benison says, I flew a Luscombe recently. It was so narrow, I thought it was a single-seater.
They are cosy, I have to admit.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Johnny, you got just a little introduction here for what's coming up later, maybe?
Yeah, so France have issued a decree, which sounds very royal, although that's not the term to use with France, allowing basically the overflight of foreign amateur-built aircraft. And this is specifically aimed at owners and operators of UK-registered permit aircraft, but it also covers historic aircraft from within the EEA, the European Economic Area. So now you can fly across France in your permit machine without prior validation of an airworthiness certificate, so long as it's for less than 28 days. And we'll be hearing more from Mr. Dave White about flying in France and Europe later on. So stay tuned.
Excellent.
Very good.
So, Ed.
That must be, yeah. So an interesting little one, this. Not massive news, but we've had a couple of press releases this week from flying clubs that are really proud of their newly refurbished aircraft. One of them was Cambridge Aero Club, who've added a second completely refurbished Cessna 152 to their fleet. And Stapleford Flight Centre has a Piper Super Cub that's just had a 1-year refurbishment by Vintage Fabrics at Audley End. It's brilliant that flying clubs are providing fantastic quality aircraft on their fleets. But isn't it a shame that there's no way for clubs to economically add brand new aeroplanes? So
that little 152, and I'm sure it's an absolutely peachy 152, but that's a 40-year-old airframe, kind of 12,000 hours, completely refurbed. So I think a couple of things. One, it's bloody amazing that 40 years ago they were designing and building aircraft that have survived 12,000 hours of student learning. I mean, that's one tough little mother of an aircraft. That is, Miles McCollum once said to me, if the 152 hadn't sort of been a success and there'd only been 100 of them built, everyone would now revere it as like the most amazing aircraft of all time because it was so tough. And it just goes on and on and on. It's brilliant. But, on the other hand, there's a little, we're talking about introducing moving maps in sailing 15 years ago, and now people not using moving maps for navigate. But we're also talking about putting 40-year-old aircraft. But good on Cambridge. Well done. That's no criticism of them.
That's it. There's a good comment actually. Trent 772, which I know is Mike Newell, but he adds Bodmin have a brand new RV12, and that's correct. They bought an amateur built one, which I think Mike built, and added it to their fleet. But you think that is an aeroplane in the States that you can buy as a ready built aircraft, an LSA, and add to your club fleet, and they're not overly expensive. If only we had similar capabilities here.
You never know. It might be coming with the 600-kilogram Microlight thing. That might it's in that direction. Johnny, what's coming up tomorrow before Fly Alive on Monday? Tomorrow.
Yeah, so Flyer Club members can join us tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. for a webinar from Nigel Webb, and he'll be talking all about the perils of airframe icing, including how to enhance your flight planning using internet-based tools that are available for free, and also techniques to remember in case you end up in icing inadvertently. So look out, if you're a club member, look out for the link to watch tomorrow in your inboxes. And if you're not a member and you want to watch, then I'll tell you how to join at the end of the live stream. And now I think it's time for the Right Stuff quiz.
Before Right Stuff, is that what time's Nigel on tomorrow?
7 p.m.
7 p.m. Okay.
So joining us tonight and just magically appearing on screen is Flyers resident brilliant Go European whiz, Dave White. Dave, welcome to the Fly live stream and to the Right Stuff quiz.
Thanks, Ed.
It's that exciting.
Thanks, Ed.
Excellent, good. Well, thanks for joining us. Obviously, you know the format here. It's I get to give you the Right Stuff quiz. Questions generated by Ian, and I know he's sat there in the background with the timer that doesn't work. So we're going to see if the timer that doesn't work this week. And your time starts when I read your first question. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Excellent. So here we go. Paper chart or tablet?
Tablet.
North up or track up?
Track up. Good enough for a chart, good enough for Tim.
Calais or Le Touquet?
Ooh, Calais, I think.
Glass or steam?
Glass.
Through or round controlled airspace?
Through it.
Grass or hard?
Grass. That's where the good people are.
Life jacket or immersion suit?
Well, you wouldn't wear an immersion suit without a life jacket, so it's going to be life jacket.
Okay. High wing or low wing?
Oh, biplane.
France or Belgium?
Ooh, now another France, because there's more of it.
Okay. And side by side or tandem?
Side by side because it's more sociable.
Uh-huh. Ian, how did Dave do?
Dave has clearly been watching. And
Turn your phone off.
Keeping a little spreadsheet in an analytical way, because Dave ended up with 100% of the right stuff quiz.
Excellent. Congratulations, Dave.
Thank you.
Well done, Dave. We're clearly going to have to change the questions for the future. But anyway, time for me to have a chat with you, Dave White. How are you doing, Dave?
I'm doing extremely well, and I'm actually bolstered by your concept of what I took to be a beer-powered aeroplane earlier. I think that's a really good idea.
Well, I kind of figure that if we go charging down the runway with the wings on it, there's like 4 of us, we're probably not going to get the power to lift it, are we? But when we fail to take off and just pull off the side of the runway, we'll be sat around a beer keg.
Yeah. What's not
under the shade of the wings? What's not to like? So, Dave, you did a little while ago. Apart from anything else, people probably know you as a jolly nice chap. They've seen around the skies in your Jodel. They may well know you as a moderator of the Flyer Forum, and they may also know you as the presenter on the Going Foreign update thing that you gave us a little while ago. That's now, I say now, but shortly when we finish the stream tonight, that will be available for everybody to watch. So that's a good thing. So give us a bit of an update. What's happened since there? There's been some changes, I think, notably the thing that Johnny was speaking about.
They have, and it's all positive, to be honest. It's quite nice to see how fast things are changing. I gave that presentation to the Fly Club on the 23rd of March, and there's a piece in it for those who watched the video where we're talking about potential problems with those permit aircraft to France, specifically France because of French law, and after what I understand to have been sterling efforts over nearly a year by the CAA and DGAC, we now have fewer, or we revert, in fact, to the situation pre-Brexit, where home-built permit aircraft and some historic types now no longer need to apply for permission to fly in France. There is a wrinkle still, which is that if you have a factory-built permit type, which doesn't fall into the historic category, then I'm afraid you still need to apply for permission and you pay a fee of €50. But that's no different than it was before. In practice, the CAA, DGAC, ably assisted by the LAA, BMAA, and AOPA, I believe, have turned us back to where we were before. So once we're allowed to fly again, come the end of the COVID restrictions, we can consider nothing's changed on that score.
That is very good news. What's your take on the licensing wrinkle, the LAPL licensing wrinkle for those aircraft in particular?
Well, it's thoroughly logical because a LAPL is a LAPL. It used to be an EASA license. We now have a CAA FCL LAPL, but it's the same document with the same privileges, underpinned by the same training and the same currency requirements. It's just that EASA have decided that they will not accept it in Europe anymore. That's sad, and I hope that sense ultimately will prevail, and all of the LAPL pilots who've been used to flying in Europe will be able to do so soon. I know nothing as to what's happening behind the scenes on that, sadly.
There was a post by Pato Walker who was saying that the language used in the new French law, which basically, so the way it used to apply to microlights, because microlights had sort of effectively sub-ICAO licenses, said that if you had a license issued by the authority in the country of registration, that you were good to fly through France with it. And that appears to be the same language at the moment, now that they've made the change. So there's an argument, and I'm not going to be one to test it, but who knows, that if you have a LAPL, it's issued by the UK, and you're flying a permit aircraft, not one of those factory ones that you're talking about, but a home-built permit aircraft and a LAPL, you should be able to fly on that in France because you can fly on in the UK. Now, I don't know whether I'm not sure that, well, I haven't got a LAPL anyway, so I'm not going to be the first person to test it anyway. But it'll be interesting to see whether that turns out to be the case or not.
Yeah, I did see that from Donald, and he's really good. He's normally got his absolute finger on the pulse there. I was not sure whether that whether that was an interpretation that everybody would give. I suspect that there's value in an email to DGAC saying this is our interpretation. Do you agree? And if they say yes, that would be magnificent.
I'll see if I can dig out a contact through our. We got some friends in a French general aviation magazine. I'll see if I can dig out a DGAC contact from them and drop the DGAC an email and see what they say. So you never know. But anyway, that's enough. That's enough about that, because right now we can't fly to France anyway, can we? So
no.
Let's talk about other things. So tell us a bit about yourself, Dave. We all know you as this jovial moderator, but what how did you get into flying, and when did you get into flying?
Well, I've got no flying background in the family, except that I grew up on a dairy farm in Cheshire. And I was effectively shaken out of my pram by Vulcans in the early Cold War because we were right next to the Avro airfield at Woodford. So that got me interested in aircraft generally. And then I got a very good school friend whose father was aviation mad. And we used to drive around the country to air shows from Cheshire to Mildenhall in a day, nothing unusual. And that really cemented the idea, to the extent that I did an aeronautical engineering degree, sandwich degree, and in the sandwich year I was left a very small legacy, and I blew it all on learning to fly rather than putting it down on a deposit for a house, as some family members suggested was a good idea. So and it's all gone from there, really. I ended up working in aviation from then, which allowed me to join a flying club on the airfield, and that made it easier. And then the usual route of wouldn't it be a good idea to buy a share? Yes, it would. Wouldn't it be a good idea to go further? Yes, it would. All those sorts of things came to pass. And, looking back on it, I think it's just that aviation in the blood that so many of us know about took over.
Did you say Vulcans, or was it Sopwith pups?
Steady now. Anyway, Sopwith pups would have been Kingston, not Woodfordshire.
Clearly, I just misheard. I'm sorry. I do apologise.
I did actually do my degree in a building that was used to build Sopwith pups and Hurricanes.
Wow, there you go. So, talking of your degree, are you being a little bit modest? You're working in aviation. What did you do? Did you run a cafe on an airfield, or?
No. Once I finished my degree, I became a civil servant, and that's when I came to Wiltshire, which is where I still live, to work at Luscombe Down as an engineer, as I applied for. And on my first day, they said, "Do you know anything about helicopters?" And I said, "Absolutely nothing." They weren't covered in my degree at all. They said, "Well, that's unfortunate, because you're going to work at D Squadron, which is where the helicopters were at Luscombe Down." And I spent many, many happy educational and traveling years working on rotorcraft, which I am a big fan of, and I will defend them to anybody.
So what's your give us a couple of rotary highlight experiences?
Rotary highlight. Well, I was spoiled, because the first big project I got involved with was working on the introduction to service of the upgraded Lynx for the Army, the Lynx Mark 7, as tail rotor blade on the wall, and that's a real sports car of an aeroplane, expensive to operate, but very capable, very fast, still holds the world speed record. And that set me up reasonably well for within the Army aviation domain, to the extent that I was the technical lead, be clear, only the technical lead, of the team that was involved in the UK attack helicopter competition in the early 90s, which was eventually won by Apache, which is just being upgraded now to the Apache E models. And I helped bring Apache into service. So I spent 10 or 11 years shuttling backwards and forwards to the desert in Arizona, which is a great place. I recommend that to anybody too.
That sounds like a really tough gig, going backwards and forwards.
Yeah. Yeah, it nearly killed me actually, but it's a great place.
The Army links have got skids, haven't they?
Correct. Well, they did do, and then the Mark 9s that came in later had nose wheel undercarriage, so the Western wheelbarrow.
A couple of Navy friends keep telling me that skids are for kids.
Yeah, but if you look at the Navy links undercarriage, the wheels actually don't point forwards; they point out, they're canted outwards. All very strange.
Better handling on corners, I think.
Yeah. I did do a lot. To be fair, I did do a lot of work putting helicopters onto ships as well. So I've got a soft spot for the Navy links and any naval helicopter, honestly, too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So, what's your kind of flying like now?
It is, well, I've got a share in a Jodel, perfect aircraft, perfect strip, perfect co-owner, Mark, who flies it even further than I try to. I do a lot of flying around the UK. I go to Europe as much as I can. After having realized for years it's not that difficult. I didn't go for many years, other than on one organized trip in the late 80s, and I thought, this is crazy. We're less than an hour away from Cherbourg. Why don't I go to Europe? So I put a cold towel around my head. I looked at the instructions that are in the Pooley's manual, and worked out what I actually needed to do rather than the way that it was written down. I thought, hang on a minute, that's simple. So it is simple. And I will fly to Europe. I'll fly to Scotland. I'll fly anywhere. I'll fly just for the sake of getting air under the tires. It's lovely, and operating from a strip, you can do it whenever you want. Having a share in an airplane, you can do it whenever you want. I'm very lucky.
Do I remember that you're putting your engineering experience to good use and building something?
That's a good memory, and there will be some people watching this who are probably rolling on the floor laughing at the moment, especially Charlie Hugh, if he's watching, because he's supposed to be my inspector. It's an RV7. There are two types of RV7 people may know, the slow build and the quick build. Mine is the slow build. I started it many years ago, and then I started a business, and then I joined a small company, and then I decided that maybe it is in fact a retirement project after all.
So when are you planning to retire then?
Tomorrow would be nice, wouldn't it? I need to just check out finances to keep me in the style of living to which I wish to become accustomed.
Fair enough. Okay, last question. Well, almost last question. What now we can start to fly again and things can get back to normal slightly. What plans have you got for going forward, or for any kind of flying? What's going to happen?
Actually, one of the things that I do want to do is to fly to Fishburn, which is not flying foreign, but there are three reasons for that. One, we can't fly foreign. Two, everybody says how fabulous that airfield is, and actually all of the airfields around there. And three, the friend that I mentioned earlier, whose father took us all around the country, has just moved up there. So, and I haven't seen him for 2 years. So that would be that's actually the thing on my list to do next. But I want to fly to Italy again.
Yeah, I have to say, flying to Venice is on my list for sure.
I flew for the first time to Venice October 2019 on the way back from a long trip from Poland, funnily enough. And Venice Lido is something special. And stay on the Lido, it will cost you a third of what it will on the island itself.
Even better. It's certainly in my plans. And then maybe in the summer, given that we both live in Wiltshire, we ought to have a bit of a meet up on a whole bunch of farm strips around here.
Yeah. And there's some great farm strips around here too, including yours, by the way, which Nigel keeps perfectly.
Yeah, Nigel does keep a very nice strip, doesn't he? So for anyone who hasn't seen it, don't forget Dave's video going forward has got all sorts of stuff, lots of post-Brexit updates. It was a really good and informative evening. And after this live stream is finished, I'll be changing it to make it public. So you need to be a member of the club to be the first one and to get the interaction and stuff like that. Because we want you to be members of the club. But after it's been there for a while and no interaction, I'm afraid that'll be coming out, and you'll be able to get that this afternoon. So this evening, even lots of good stuff. Maybe one day we can tempt you out of retirement on that very large and complex CRI revalidation table thing that you created.
Yeah,
to explain that.
I will. I'm waiting for the dust to settle on that, which was quite right, because it would have been wrong to change that before we understood the CAA FCL wrinkle. I will update that, and I will update that when it's appropriate to do so. It's generally still accurate though, so long as you've got your head around the basic changes to things that occur. I think the only thing that's on there that isn't on there that should be is that you can now use Microlight hours as a contribution to your CAA FCL. So what was the EASA PPL?
Which is, and that, given the 600 kilo changes that are coming, I think is going to be a very good and interesting thing, I have to say.
Yeah, I mean, some of those aircraft, they blur the line such that it doesn't exist anymore. They're lovely.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, Dave, thank you very much for coming along. Thank you very much for your going foreign contribution.
Pleasure.
I look forward to seeing you on a strip around here sometime soon. Thank you. Ed.
Yes, it must be time for Fantasy Hangar.
Must be time for Fantasy Hangar.
So we mixed it up a little bit this week. So as we had that item in the news about reworked aeroplanes on flying club fleets, we thought, wouldn't it be fantastic to have Fantasy Flying School? So there's some exciting types around. So what would we really like to see on a flying club fleet? Now, feel free to join in. Obviously, give us stick your Fantasy Flying Club type in the comments. However, these are our 4 choices. Who's going first?
It's me.
Johnny.
Yeah, so I've picked the Titan 251B. Yeah, so basically, I think this would be a great club aircraft, but maybe for a club where you vet the members beforehand, because it looks a bit tricky to fly. It's rated +6, -4, 1,650 pound weight limit, so it's kind of the same as an RV6. But what I love about it is, if you go on the Titan website, is the basically the list of different engines. You go from a Rotax 912 through to a 2.7 litre Suzuki V6, a 3.5 litre Honda V6, or a 6.2 litre General Motors V8, or even a BMW V12. So you can spec it out to however you like.
In reality, on a club fleet, Rotax 912.
Yeah.
But this isn't reality.
No.
If you stick a 912 on it to get the CFG, you must have to put it out on a 12-foot pole or something.
You have to wrap the 912 in lead, probably.
Lead, yeah, absolutely.
That's a good choice. Yeah, that would be quite fun on a flying club fleet. The insurers may flinch a bit.
I kind of feel I've gone slightly vanilla, sort of plain, really, as it were.
Really?
Yeah, I've gone for there you go, M600. Although, it could be a TBM, could be a Meridian, could be a PC12. I think there's a place in flying clubs to have a really good high performance turbine single. The times when you want to jump in and go somewhere, Venice Lido. I'll go to Venice Lido this year if I can, or next year if I can't, in the 182. But it's going to take me the best part of a day to get there. I kind of, sometimes you just want to go somewhere quite quickly and in pressurized comfort. So I think, and look, that's a bloody gorgeous looking airplane, isn't it?
It is. It's a good looking machine, and very capable. The range on that is huge, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. And I don't know if you remember, there was another magazine that shall not be named that ran some illustrations, because the Garmin screens put fuel range rings on. So you can actually see on the screen, you go, well, I can get there, and that's my 45-minute reserve. The other magazine, I think, called them death rings or something.
They called them circles of death, famously.
Circles of death, which I thought was...
I'm sure the marketing people at Piper were going, "Yeah, that's exactly what we wanted them described as. Thank you very much."
Absolutely. Yeah, maybe that was the whole reason behind the Autoland being installed. We're just approaching the circle of death. We better press the Autoland.
That's it. That's a good choice too. Dave, have you picked a Luscombe?
No, I haven't actually. I've gone for the bonkers solution. This is the Subsonics jet. Now, you might say this could not possibly be a flying school aircraft, but actually, Sonics are working on a 2-seat version called the JSX-2T. It's still being worked on. It's not actually out at the moment. So just looking at this one, which is the single seat, I mean, it's an absolutely astonishing aircraft. I mean, apart from the fact it's got a jet, and that listens to that jet start, that whine, and there's no prop in front, obviously, because the jet's behind you. And then I've flown a jet once, an Eclipse, and it was magical, absolutely magical. So looking at the single seat, it is quite small. It is very small, in fact, but it is extremely fast, and you can get it if you're prepared to go for the lower weight limit. It can pull 6 Gs, plus 6 Gs, or minus 3. It's got a near 2,000 feet per minute rate of climb, and it's, well, who wouldn't want to have a go in that? It's a bit like driving flying a Caterham 7. It's that kind of elementary ballsy aircraft, I think.
That is a really good choice. I'm very lucky. I've got a friend of mine who's built one and operates one, and he said he described the first flight, and he said I went flying in it. He said you go racing down the runway, and it's really low. It sits very low to the ground. So he said there's a huge your peripheral vision. It's all really busy. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of noise, loads of things spinning up and stuff, and you've got this turbine. And he said you just hear this crescendo of noise. He said I rotated, and all I could hear was this spooling down. He went, "Oh my God, I've had an engine failure." And that was the nose wheel coming off the ground and suddenly not spinning so fast.
Wow.
But yeah, great. And fantastic thing. And Francis Donaldson famously said that he wouldn't have a problem approving the Subsonics in the UK.
Really?
Yes.
Blimey.
Yeah. I may have committed you to something there, Francis. Bad luck.
Yeah. I thought that would be the biggest hurdle.
Imagine knocking on the door of the CA going, "I need to get a type rating in a subsonic single-seat jet, please."
That's it. Yeah, you can see pitfalls of a subsonic and 2-seat subsonics on a flying club fleet. It's like Bill left his headset on the turtle deck and it got sucked in the jet engine. Bit of a problem.
It does also need quite a long runway.
That's it. Yes. Yeah. But I think you're all completely mad. Ian's is quite reasonable, I guess. But I've gone for the certified production, but is beautiful and is available now to buy. I've gone for this, and it's the black shape Gabrielle. And how fantastic is that? Yes, it's practical. It's got nose wheel, 160 horse Lycoming. But you've got to imagine that if you've got a flying club fleet where you've got a whole bunch of these beautiful tandem Italian aeroplanes, it's 160 knots, 3 hours of endurance, plus 5, minus 2.5 G. Takeoff roll quoted 250 meters, landing roll 190 meters, max rate of climb 1,500 feet per minute. It's Italian and carbon fiber, so it's probably bonkersly expensive. But just imagine turning up to your flying club and having those on your fleet. By the time someone's put Johnny's Mustang on its nose, no one can afford to put fuel in the M600, and Dave's ingested his headset into the jet.
That is a very nice aeroplane, Ed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the bald flyer Jeremy Winder says Ed wins. However, Kia's probably challenged me a bit by going, Kia says Ed wins. Catkin says how much? We can't answer that. But I thought probably one of the best things I saw suggested that none of us picked up on was and I'm going to have to find it now, because you all went mad in the comments. Aviator Steve said Cap 10, and the Cap 10 is actually a pretty good do all sorts, lovely handling machine, and a few clubs have got them, I think.
So I think, along similar lines to a Cap 10, similar-ish lines to a Cap 10, I reckon the Super Decathlon is a pretty good all-round aircraft.
Yeah.
Alan Williams is with you. He says Citabria.
Yeah.
Keir Williams is obviously on drugs. He said SX300 for complex difference training. Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, you're not really on drugs.
Quest Air Venture, that would be.
The aeroplane where you look at it and go, where's the rest of it?
Yeah. What happened there? Someone, where they got the M600 and they went, "Argh!"
They took the front, the middle, and the back and just went, here's an aeroplane with all the rest left out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
But yeah, some good choices in there and some excellent suggestions in the comments. Yes. Someone else who's mad. Seawind. A Seawind on a flying club fleet. Are you mad?
Where would you land?
Yes.
Scotland, I guess. So, there you go. Fantasy Hangar.
Good job. Yeah, and just imagine that if modern flying clubs had the capability to afford, if there were affordable, fantastic machines like that.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it? Be nice. So let's move to events. Time's ticking on. Events. Next week's the only event in town, isn't it, really? And it's not Sun and Fun we're talking about.
No, next week is all about Fly Alive and Learn to Fly Week. There's also Sun and Fun going on, and we'll have some news from there during Fly Alive. But we're not mentioning anything else, so it's over to you, Johnny, to talk about the club.
Yeah, so I hope many of you have managed to get flying in the air this week. I know the weather's not been quite as good as it was last week. And thank you to all the new club members who've joined in the past week. It's great to have you on board. So don't forget, tomorrow evening, we've got Nigel Webb's webinar, the web webinar at 7 p.m. And we'll send you the email link out tomorrow during the day sometime. So join us for that. And as usual, if you aren't a member, you can join for just £7.50 per quarter. So go to flyer.co.uk, look along the top banner at the top of the screen and hit the Flyer Club banner. And then you can find out all the information you need. It's got a list of all the benefits from landing fees to retail discounts and everything else. So yeah, join the club, and we might well see you out and about at airfields this summer.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Just a quick plug, a quick plug for Fly Alive next week. So don't forget, it's between 7 and 9 every evening, Monday to Friday. Friday nights club members only. We've got a whole bunch of really good guests, including someone from the CA, prizes, plus all sorts of other bits and pieces going on, news from Sun and Fun. Think about it. Think of it as like a live stream plus with some other stuff added in as well. So there you go. We'll hopefully see you there. What have we got before we knock this on the head? We got
QSY.
QSY,
yeah.
What did you all find? I didn't find anything this week. I've been a busy boy this week. I'm sure everyone's.
I found something. Have you got my photo?
I have got your photos. There you go.
Excellent. Some of you may have seen this. A few people were surprised to see that Subaru filed a patent for a flying bike, a flying motorcycle. Obviously, you've heard of flying cars, but who's? And I've not come across many things for a flying motorcycle. Anyway, so it's fair to say that a lot of people were surprised by that. Looks like a motorcycle tucked into the fuselage of a small single-seat aeroplane. Interestingly, the power was noted to be internal combustion engine, not electric. Looks like a neat way to chop yourself into bits. But
yeah.
Again, solving problems you didn't know existed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Then we had like the worst windsock of the week award. I think Johnny found that, didn't he?
Yeah, I spotted this on Facebook. Thanks to Terry Kent. Thank you for letting us use your picture. I was going to say let's start a competition for the worst windsock, but I think we might be there already. If that's
I don't know. That could still lose all the fabric and just have the ring that just kind of blows around and shows you the direction. Surely, there's still some light in that. High. Yeah. If you know, here's a challenge to you. If anyone knows of a worse windsock than this, let's start the Flyer Livestream worst windsock challenge.
Hashtag worst windsock.
Yes. Worst windsock, exactly. Dave, I think you've seen a great Aviation gin bar.
Well, I wouldn't go so far as to say great, because anyway, here it is. This is the Aviator gin bar. It's in a place called Newton Aycliffe, County Durham. It's a real helicopter, a Eurocopter, parked up the top there. Bits of the fuselage, bits of a 737 fuselage are in there, and some 737 seats. Apparently 3 different aircraft have contributed bits to this. The only thing slightly disconcerting is that it appears to be inside an industrial unit, which although it's a real bar, obviously they can't open at the moment, but it's a real bar. It's a real sort of gin bar, if you like, that kind of thing, but on an industrial park by the look of it.
It might be a hangar.
Could be.
Because aviation and drinking, they are good matches.
Yeah, send us in your pictures of the best aviation bars.
Yes.
Maybe we'll try them out for you one day. Anyway, I think that's about it tonight. I think we're kind of in danger of going even longer than the hour, which is getting a bit silly. So thank you very much for joining us. Please join us next week, Monday to Friday. You don't have to come every night, and there'll be other stuff. You can watch it on catch up and all sorts of stuff.
There's 10 hours of us. We're going to need your support.
Yes,
and that gin bar,
and the world's worst windsock.
So we look forward to that. So obviously there's no live stream as per se next week. There's like a bumper live stream on Thursday with Sophie from the CEA. That would be great fun. So excellent. Thank you very much for that. Thank you very much, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you next week. So have a good one and goodbye.
Thanks all. Bye-bye.
See you on Monday.